Hi, my name is Dr. Charlton Butts. I am an optometrist as well as a personal trainer. I own Your Gains Fitness, personal training and training facility. The year I went vegan was 2017. The thing that led me to go vegan was my first bodybuilding competition. After training for a series of months, my stomach and gastrointestinal system was under a lot of distress. And so I decided to go on a plant-based diet, which I found was really beneficial for my body. And since that time, I just stuck with the plant-based diet, primarily vegan, 5 years now, and I've loved every moment of it.
When you say primarily vegan, you mean entirely vegan?
Entirely vegan, that's correct, yes.
Primarily whole food.
Yes.
Did you do some research to figure out if this was even practical for health at all, or did you worry about that at all?
No, I had taken some initiative to look into gut health and gut biome restabilization. And so just having background in a science-based field, knowing that making sure that your gut bacteria is in the best balance, it just made the most sense. And so I eliminated meat, focused more on whole grains, vegetables, fruits. I actually cut over cold turkey and just went vegan on a day that I selected arbitrarily. And since that time, I've eaten nothing but vegan-based products, still sticking primarily to a lot of those whole food, nutrient-dense foods.
During this journey, have you come to any ethical reasons for being vegan?
No, primarily it's really just for health and how I feel. It boosts my energy level, it keeps my mood in check, my body feels better, I'm able to perform, and my output has been exceedingly above what I could have maybe put forth on the diet that I was on previously. So I haven't really had any setbacks. I do understand the benefits to the environment and animals by being vegan. So as a secondary focus, I do appreciate that I'm able to help in that regard, but it's not for that reason that I chose to be vegan. It was more about my body and my performance, since I do competitive bodybuilding as well. When I'm getting into competition, I want to be able to eat food that's going to properly supplement me and give me what I need so that I can present the best package on stage.
Now, what if suddenly you felt like maybe I need to get cut a certain way and eating animals would accomplish that? Do you think he would ever go back to eating animals for any reason?
It's been presented to me by my coach. It's been a consideration. I'm very reluctant to do so. I just can't see where I'd gain that much more benefit with the results I've been able to put forth as of now in my vegan journey. So although it may have subtle variances or benefits by going back to meat, I don't think that I'm going to return to eating any kind of animal-based protein in the near future or in the far foreseeable future that I can really expect right now. And really, if I just have to turn up my intensity for training or supplement different or condition harder, then I'll find some other avenue to get to my desired goal. But going back to meat really hasn't been a true craving of mine at all.
It's really cool that what you've accomplished here and all, and I don't want to downplay it at all, but I'm sure that some people in the comment section are going to be like, he's not really vegan, he's doing this for health reasons. You know?
Entirely vegan, no cheating. People ask me all the time, do you eat fish, do you eat dairy, do you eat eggs? When I go out to restaurants, I still request that all the meals are vegan, try to even remove any salads that have cheese or bacon bits, anything. So I'm always entirely conscious of what's going in, family functions, no matter where it is. The first thing that's always on my mind, my brother can attest to it, who's also vegan as well, is that we both strive to stick to only what we know is wholly based vegan product that doesn't have any animal product associated with it.
That's tricky because, you know, some people fail at doing this, mostly because they go into it as a diet, and most diets do fail, like 80% or something. It's a really high number of diets fail. If you go into it as a philosophy to practice nonviolence, you'll find a way, even if suddenly you start having struggles with your diet, right? So I guess if you had struggles with your diet, maybe you got IBS or something, you would still stick with the veganism, or, you know, because some people would, you know, consider other things at that point?
So for me, I've just had a tremendous amount of discipline from a very young age. So anything I really commit to, I'm usually able to follow through all the way 100%. Like you said, the attributes, the percentage with diets and their success rate, is very widely known, and people do have trouble when they diet. But when you make it a habit and a lifestyle, it takes a different approach, and you can really have a different type of commitment to it, especially once you start seeing and feeling the results. And so that's really been kind of my foundation, is that this is a lifestyle for me. This is what I choose to do. This is what I want to live by because of what I know I get back from it. And so there's really no failing or falling off the wagon in my general scope of how I look at the picture. And so really when it boils down to it, it's either you want it or you don't. And if you're teeter-tottering or in that gray area, then there's more likelihood that you might regress or step back.
Was there any other changes that you noticed, any other improvements or any kind of changes mentally, physically, emotionally at all?
Oh, right away, yeah. Aside from the gastrointestinal issues, the sleep was improved, energy level through the day was improved. I wasn't as lethargic or as run down. I'm very in tune with my body, so even as far as blood flow, I know a lot of times people joke about even vegan sex drive. When you are eating a lot of meat or animal-based products and cholesterol, the ability to just have a different type of libido and sex drive. So there's a lot of facets to everyday life and just my overall health that I noticed within just a matter of 2 to 4 weeks. It's a very quick turnaround, and so when you're getting that rapid of a result, which everybody nowadays likes instant gratification, I mean, you can't really get too much sooner than a couple of weeks by just converting some of the ways that you're approaching your diet.
Now, some people on a vegan diet do have some of the symptoms that you were having before you went vegan. Maybe you found a way that might help them resolve some of those issues. Is there any tips there for the kind of symptoms that you were describing that you were able to ameliorate with the vegan diet?
So I would say it does take research. There can be a lot of guesswork in going vegan. A lot of guesswork can lead you to still select a lot of the wrong foods that are promoting a bad gut environment. And so you're just doing a little bit less, but using the same type of irritants, for lack of better words. And so what I really did was I read a couple of books on cleansing the gut. I've now followed Dr. Stephen Gundry as well. He's not entirely vegan, but he does give a lot of insight and tips on individuals with a plant-based or vegan diet on how you can eliminate things that are going to cause you to have irritable bowels, bad bacterial gut biome. And so by following some of his recommendations, some of his food lists, as well as some of the other things that I've researched outside his practice, I've just been able to help myself keep some of those symptoms down to a very minimal or modifiable level that I can simply make adjustments. If I feel that this food has caused this type of symptom, I can simply remove it or just reduce the consumption, and there you have it. I'm right back where I need to be.
That is so wild that you mentioned Gundry. So Gundry, you've been able to take what he does and veganize it.
Yes.
Is that easy?
It is. It's very easy.
Some of the people I've interviewed are kind of like throw Gundry under the bus, like Dr. Garth Davis.
And you got people writing books. This guy, this guy writes a book that plants are bad for you, and that the worst thing for you is lectins, and you should never eat beans, unless you could eat beans if you take his $200 lectin binding thing available on his website. Beans are bad for you. Okay. This study was one of the biggest studies ever on beans, and it showed that beans are the most important dietary predictor of survival in older people. How possibly can you say that beans are bad for you if it is the #1 predictor of longevity? And yet people are just free to just lie now, just outright lie. I see this stuff and I'm like, I'm speechless. That's why I'm so angry on Instagram.
Lectin-packed foods are the cornerstone of the diets of all the healthiest, longest-lived populations on the planet. Plant-based diets in general, and legumes in particular, are a common thread among longevity blue zones around the world, the most lectin-lush food there is. And if lectins are bad, then whole grain consumers should be riddled with disease, when in fact whole grain intake is associated with a reduced risk of coronary heart disease, the #1 killer of men and women, strokes too, and total cancer, and mortality from all causes put together, meaning people who eat whole grains tend to live longer and get fewer respiratory diseases, infectious diseases, diabetes, and all non-cardiovascular, non-cancer causes to boot. And not just in population studies. As I've shown, you can randomize people into whole grain interventions and prove cause and effect benefits. The same with tomatoes. You randomize women to a cup and a half of tomato juice or water every day, and all that nightshade tomato lectin reduces systemic inflammation, or has waist slimming effects, reducing cholesterol as well as inflammatory mediators. So when people told me about this book, I was like, let me guess, he sells a line of lectin-blocking supplements. And what do you know? Assist your body in the fight against lectins for only $79.95 a month. It's only like $1,000 a year, a bargain for pleasant bathroom visits. And then, of course, there's 10 other supplements, so for only $8,000 or $9,000 a year, you can lick those lectins. Oh, did I not mention his skincare line? Firm and Sculpt for an extra $120. All so much more affordable when you subscribe to his VIP club. But you still want to give him the benefit of the doubt. People ask me all the time to comment on some new blog or book or YouTube video, and I have to sadly be like, look, there are 100,000 peer-reviewed scientific papers on nutrition published in the medical literature every year, and we can barely keep up with those. But people kept emailing me about this book, so I was like, fine, I'll check out the first citation. Chapter 1, Citation 1, Forget everything you thought you knew was true. Diet books love saying that. For example, eating shellfish and egg yolks dramatically reduces total cholesterol. What? Egg yolks reduce cholesterol? What is this citation? This is the paper he cites, and here it is. By now, you know how these studies go. How do you show a food decreases cholesterol? You remove so much meat, cheese, and eggs that overall your saturated fat falls. In this case, about 50%. If you cut saturated fat in half, of course cholesterol levels are going to drop. So they got a drop in cholesterol removing meat, cheese, and egg yolks. Yet that's the paper he uses to support his statement that egg yolks dramatically reduced cholesterol. I mean, it's unbelievable. That's the opposite of the truth. Add egg yolks to people's diets, and their cholesterol goes up. I mean, how dare he say this? And it's not like some, harmless foolishness like saying the earth is flat or something. Heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women. This could actually hurt people. So much for my benefit of the doubt.
Some of it might not necessarily be backed by science, especially since he's trying to sell these lectin supplement, anti-lectin supplements or something.
Right. I try to now just focus more on eating a lot more vegetables, produce, those types of things, and creating more whole meals, because it is a lot of those processed elements or just picking the wrong types of snacks that may have those little subtle ingredients that are really critical to whether or not your stomach feels how you want it to, or that your body's really getting that bioavailable nutrition that you really want to receive from everything that you put in your mouth.
Yeah, and there is, of course, legitimacy to lectins being something that you don't want to ingest a lot of.
Correct.
So that's why you wait till they're sprouted or cooked or soak them. I guess, is that kind of just it? You just kind of maybe do soaking?
I did invest in a pressure cooker. He does recommend pressure cooker for certain things like lentils, which I eat very often, beans, chickpeas, those types of things. So I think preparation does go heavily into it, and knowing how to pick foods in a timely manner, getting seasonal things. I know he's big on de-seeding and peeling certain things as far as some of your produce, some of your nightshade vegetables and things of that sort. So I've applied some of that, and whether it's made a significant amount of difference for me, I think because I was already kind of keen to some of those details, it only gave me a little bit of improvement, where somebody who's not doing any of that might see a much more drastic type of change in their diet.
Cool. So what's a day of eating look like for you?
Day of eating for me is actually intermittent or restricted window eating. So I usually will try to fast till about 10 or 11 a.m. and eat something around 11:30 or even noon, which would be probably a green smoothie or a protein smoothie with some super greens in it. And then following that, I would do a workout, and then post-workout get a lunch of maybe some kale, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, mushrooms, cabbage, just a lot of vegetables kind of mixed together. The sweet potato maybe for some complex carbohydrate, slow digesting. And then dinner might be a salad and a piece of fruit or maybe another smoothie. I've been really a lot less on my calories as of late, and it's really been helping to keep me lean, but I feel more satiated actually by eating less because my body's doing less through the course of the day as far as burning so many meals from that 5 meals a day program that I was on before. So I actually feel a lot more invigorated, a lot more vitality by eating less. And so I might get in max 2,000 calories a day, and a lot of it's either a smoothie and a big lunch, and then a very minimal dinner, maybe a handful of nuts sometimes can hold me over, and I'm good to go until the next day. So it's very basic, really simplistic.
Awesome, good stuff. Could you be with somebody who isn't vegan?
Absolutely. It doesn't affect me. I'm going to do what's necessary for me, and I'm not going to hold it against anybody who chooses to eat different. I'll just try to educate, put little tidbits in where I can, and if they see the value in it, they'll pick and choose what they think is best.
Cool. Now, do you have like a website and stuff?
I do. So for my gym facility, the website is yourgainsfitness.com, as you can see spelled here, URGAINS fitness.com. And I can be contacted at info@yourgainsfitness.com for contact. And as far as my optometric services, that's not my practice, but if anybody wants to seek me out, I work at Caruso Eye Care, which is in a Target Optical in Lake Worth, Florida.
Cool, cool. And any last minute encouraging words you want to throw out there, or anything we didn't hit on that you want to really get out there?
I think a sentiment that's been shared pretty widely and often is that your best investment is in your health. The things that you do today will affect your tomorrow and your future. So by just making sure that you're being conscientious about the choices you're making today, from food to exercise, sleep, all the important things we know that increase life and longevity, really take those things seriously and try to encourage others around you to do the same, because we all want to live a happy, healthy life, and you can't do that if you don't make the right choices.
Beautiful stuff, man. Well, thanks for your time, and I guess I'll untether you so you can get back to why you're here.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the time.